In this video, we're going to learn how to make tints. Tints are a color plus white. This chart shows a variety of tints based on violet. What we'll do for our first painting with tints is just on a piece of paper, here I'm using a canvas, we'll put a little white down first. Then we'll add just a tiny bit of the color of your choice into the white and blend it thoroughly, going all the way across your paper. The next row, you're going to go a little bit darker. And this is because you added one more little drop of paint. And make sure when you're brushing, you go all the way across, back and forth. So what I'm doing is just adding a little bit more blue each time and making sure that I brush across, back and forth, going off my canvas as you will go off your paper. On canvas, it's a little easier to go back over what you did before and then go back into what you just did. On paper, you'll have to work more from top to bottom. So everybody will get slightly different results, but this is basically what you're going for. Now I'm going to go through the same basic procedure the way you will on paper. It's not quite as easy, like I said, but I'm going to start again with white paint. I have a little blue residue from my previous painting here, so please forgive me. But here I go, I got to add a little bit more paint. So I've got my paint on, and for starting out on paper again, I put a fresh coat of white because the white from before had dried out. Now I go back to adding my gradients with just little portions of blue. As I add more blue to this paper, I blend it in fairly smoothly at first. But now I'd like to show you what happens if you add too much pigment too soon. What you can do is quickly get some white on there and blend. You've got to blend it. Blending sometimes means you need to be a little bit more aggressive, pushing down the brush and then going over it a little bit more than you would normally. In this sort of painting where you're covering a large surface and you're trying to get a smooth gradient, you're going to want to flip and flop your brush back and forth. You're using both sides of the brush. There's not a right side or a wrong side. And you're using a fair amount of pressure to push the paint into the paper. And you go right off of the entire edge of that paper. There, I got enough blue in there, and I'm going to mix it in with a little more white. You can do this with your own work. It's probably not going to go smoothly the first time, and you'll notice working on paper is a little bit more difficult than working on canvas. But as long as your paint is still wet, you can add more white or more of your color. If you're working on paper, you can try this a few times. If you're working on canvas, simply let your canvas dry and try it again the next day.